say, one In the Belly of Mere Beast by Belinda Luscombe, February 15, 2024. The idea is that he will be strapped to this, says Kyle Bennett, pointing to a contraption that looks alarmingly like the bed in a lethal injection chamber. And we have a glass case that's going to go over the top, and we have 1,000 spiders that are about the size of my palm that are going to cover him. And I'm personally testing this tomorrow. He stops and looks around, but the producer has lost his audience. Jimmy Donaldson, the 25-year-old video wizard better known around the globe as Mere Beast, has quietly left the room. Classic, says Bennett. Donaldson is supposed to be showing a reporter and a film crew of one around the set for the next in his series of wildly popular videos of improbable stunts. In this one, a contestant must face 6 of his worst fears to win $800,000, hence the spiders. Elsewhere on the set is a chest of snakes, and somewhere outside there's a car full of money that's going to be pushed into a lake. But Donaldson's not happy. He has been away on another shoot for 11 days, and he's not thrilled with the "I'm not really good at these things," says the world's most successful YouTuber. Photographed by Chris Buck for Time. If these things are crowd-pleasing diversions, then Donaldson is really, really good at them. A recent video in which he and his posse of besties go on a vacation and spend $1 to $250,000 per day garnered 52 million views in 24 hours. That's 20 times the number of people who watched the Succession finale and more than twice as many people as saw Barbie or Oppenheimer during opening weekend. His most popular video, a version of the Korean TV show Squid Game, has been seen 500 million times, while few people over the age of 30 have heard of him, unless they have kids. Donaldson is probably the most watched person on Earth. In the flesh, Donaldson is a 6'4" mixture of eagerness to please and odd detachment. As we sit in his mother's office on the second floor of his 63,000 seats Fort studio on the outskirts of Greenville, NC, he keeps offering context for listeners to the recording device, no matter that this is a print interview. Asked how he dealt with being buried alive for 7 days, in which time he openly wept more than once, he brushes off the difficulty. Maybe for people who are extroverts, it might be harder, he says, but there's at least 1 million different things I need to think about and process mentally. These things included how to make his videos better, how a fly that was trapped with him behaved, and whether he was using an optimal moisturizer. Clockwise from center, Roy Rochlin Getty Images for YouTube. Moby Heftupu. His sway has grown such that in 2022 he launched a line of snacks, Feastables, that by 2023 was in multiple countries and will have, according to him, $500 million in annual revenue this year. Stars, the wattage of Tom Brady and Justin Timberlake, now appear in his videos, and the Charlotte Hornets wear a Feastables patch on their shirts. And while he models his career on Steve Jobs, he has a little Melinda French Gates in him too. On a second channel, Beast Philanthropy, he performs outlandish tricks of the charitable source, rescuing 100 unwanted dogs, giving away 20,000 shoes, helping distribute $30 million of food. In December 2020, he started a food delivery service, Mere Beast Burger. It grew to a reported 1,700 virtual locations and $100 million total revenue by August 2022, before becoming ensnared in a legal battle. He also has a toy deal and is reportedly on the verge of signing a 9-figure deal with Amazon. Most social media influencers reach a certain level and burn out or run out of money or ideas. Donaldson, who has been on YouTube for 12 years, has grown his channel almost exclusively on wholesome fare and has so far proved that his stamina and discipline match his ambition. Ask him how he thinks he got so successful and he has a simple answer. He just worked harder than anyone else. It's a never-ending treadmill for the content, obviously, says Donaldson. It's brutal. You're always on, and it's a lot of pressure. And this whole system is based around 200 million people just magically showing up and watching my next video. Donaldson is not your usual entrepreneur. For one, he's happy to talk about how much revenue he brings in. About $600 million to $700 million a year. For two, he claims to not be rich. I mean, not right now. He clarifies, I'm not naive. Maybe one day. But right now, whatever we make, we reinvest. He spends lavishly on every video, sometimes shooting as much as 12,000 hours of footage for a 15-minute clip. Each video does a couple million in ad revenue, a couple million in brand deals, says Donaldson. I've reinvested everything to the point of, you could claim stupidity, just believing that we would succeed. And it's worked out. Most of his videos are made from the ground up. He rarely reuses sets and is always in search of new things to demolish. He and his creative team change tack right up until the last minute, and he admits they make expensive mistakes. We had an hour to come up with like 100 ideas, says Steffi Solomon, a stand-up comedian who worked remotely on MarBeast's TikTok channel for a year in 2022. It took her a while to get used to how big the budgets were. Nothing I pitched was too crazy or unfathomable, she says. While a steady stream of crazy adventures is Donaldson's main gimmick, he also keeps viewers engaged by allowing them to feel part of his success. At his say-so, 20 million trees were planted and more than 600,000 people donated enough money, mostly in $5 increments, to help remove 30 million lbs of trash from the oceans. You always feel like you're in on his project, that you're rooting for him, says Quinn May, the CEO of Culture, a digital advertising agency. In contrast to the feats he performs, the challenges Donaldson makes to others are not extreme, especially compared with the rewards. Anyone can hold their hand on a Lamborghini for days, says Mai, of one of the tests. His whole perspective is, how do I make the average person extraordinary? The Just Folks vibe is key to MarBeast's formula. If Donaldson is Robin Hood, taking money from rich brands and giving it to stray dogs, Carl Jacobs, Chandler Hallow, Tariq Salame, Nolan Hansen, and Chris Tyson are his band of merry thieves. Except for Hansen. They're all long-time friends. To Donaldson, this is more important than their media skills. 5 years ago, we weren't getting shut for views, he adds. It's not like they're just here to suck the clout out of me. They really believe that they are different, that they are separate from the rest of the entertainment industry, says Jason Zavaleta, a filmmaker who worked at MarBeast in 2022. Jimmy gets uncomfortable and gets angry when people use language like Partoptionassistan because it's too industry. Instead, they're called Fofus Friends of Friends. Scott Brown, a creative producer who worked for MarBeast from March 2023 to August 2023, says that in order to move fast at MarBeast, they view safety as like being overly cautious or a weakness. He helped produce the Train vs. Giant Pit video and believed the safety procedures were insufficient when he suggested using OSHA protocols for the pit's considerable drop. I was told, we don't need to worry about that, he says. Other producers say they were asked to work with explosives, fast cars, and heavy machinery with very little training and on very little notice. Let's just say as an 18-year-old, says Jay Neo, who moved to Greenville from the UK to help on the creative team, it felt weird to be writing on the board days without an accident that needed to be updated every day. A spokesperson for MarBeast did not respond to an inquiry about the board, but said safety is incredibly important and taken very seriously, and medics and experienced professionals tailored to the needs of production are on every set. The company is OSHA compliant, he added. It all requires an enormous amount of time and effort, especially for someone with a finely tuned knee